Hello and welcome to Chapter 2, Section 5, Solving for a Variable. Here we're going to talk about formulas. A formula is an equation that states a rule for the variables involved. When you solve for a variable, you need to get the variable by itself on one side of the equation. For example, here we have the equation for speed. Distance equals rate times time. So it looks like D equals RT, distance equals rate times time. Now, if you know D and T, you have to put R by itself. So what they're asking you to do is start with just the letters, D equals RT, and get R by itself. If you know that you have to find R, divide both sides by time. So now your new equation is distance divided by time equals rate. Once you figure out the formula that you need, then you can solve with the correct formula really easily. So for example 1, they're talking about a wheelchair race in the Boston Marathon. He raced for 1.3 hours. He raced 26.2 miles. How fast did he go? What was his speed, his rate? So in order to get rate by itself, you divide both sides by time. So now all you have to do is look at this and you do 26.2 divided by 1.3 and you get a speed of about 20.2 miles per hour. Let's do a couple more formulas so that you can get familiar with this. The formula to change degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit is you take the number for Celsius, multiply it by 9/5, and then add 32, and that gives you Fahrenheit. The question is, how do I solve for Celsius? What if I know Fahrenheit and I want to get Celsius? Well, I have to get all these numbers to the other side of the equation to get C all by itself. So I'm going to take this formula and I'm going to subtract 32 to both sides, and I get Fahrenheit minus 32 equals 9/5 C. I have a 9/5 multiplied to my C. In order to get rid of it, I'm going to divide, which is flip and multiply. So I'm going to multiply this side by 5/9. So now I have 5/9 F minus 32. Now, this 5/9 gets multiplied to this whole thing. So this 5/9 gets multiplied to something in parentheses so that you can distribute that 5/9 equals C. This is your new formula. You have solved for C because your equation says equals C. You have solved for C. Our next example is the formula for a person's typing speed. And here the speed that they type equals words per minute minus 10 times the number of errors that they make divided by the number of minutes that they're typing. And they want you to solve for W. So we're going to look at all of the letters in here and just manipulate the letters so that we can find W. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is multiply both sides by m, or m over 1, to get rid of this fraction. So now I have ms equals w minus 10e. And now I'm going to add 10e to both sides to get w by itself. And w equals ms plus 10e. And I have solved for w. Try check it out numbers 1 and 2. Push pause and come back. So check it out number 1 asks us to find the time in hours if he traveled 26.2 miles and was doing 18 miles per hour. This is our rate, this is our distance, and we need to find out the time. So the first thing we're going to do is isolate time. We're going to divide each side by r so that we have t equals d divided by r. And now we know exactly what to do with this stuff. We divide it straight out and we end up with him taking 1.46 hours about. Remember that the wavy equal sign means about. Number 2 asks us to solve for I if final velocity equals initial velocity minus acceleration due to gravity and time. So it's got a minus gt, and we're going to do a plus dt to both sides. So f plus gt equals I, and that was relatively straightforward. The next thing this section asks us to understand is what a literal equation is. This is an equation with 2 or more variables, and that's what we've been dealing with throughout this section. It's great that they finally give us the vocabulary for it. And so we've got a couple of problems. Here we have m minus n equals 5, and they want us to solve for m. We want m all by itself, so we're going to add n to both sides, knowing that we can't add together unlike terms, and we have m equals 5 plus n. And if you ended up with m equals n plus 5, that's the same thing. Because there are no negatives in here, order doesn't matter. Here we have to solve for k, and k is the one that we're dividing by, so that's a pain in the neck. This is going to be a 2-step problem. First, we're going to multiply each side by k to get rid of that denominator. So now we have m equals xk or kx, doesn't matter. And then we're going to divide by x to get k by itself. So give check it out number 3 a try and see how that goes for you. Push pause and come back. Check it out number 3 starts with 5 minus b equals 2t, and we're solving for t. So all we have to do is divide by 2. And this is what divide by 2 looks like. You can put parentheses around it if you want it. You can say 5 minus b divided by 2 like that. But this is the preferred way to show that. 3b has d equals mv, and we want to solve for v. So I started by trying to get v by itself here, and I got rid of the m, so I have 1 over v equals d over m, and that didn't work for me. So I went back to do it the other way, 2 steps. I'm going to multiply each side by v to get v out of the denominator here. So I have v d equals m, and then I'm going to divide each side by d so that I can get v all by itself. And this is my answer. Your homework tonight is page 109, numbers 8 to 28, plus number 34. Please let me know if you have any questions at all, and I will see you tomorrow.